we're going to have a very, very busy day today. Our guests are Tom Blanchard, Republican candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 35. Kiran Hill, Republican candidate for Nevada's newest Congressional District 4. Mickey Fraser, Democrat candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 12. And then we're going to present our endorsements to Dr. Lonnie Hammargren for Nevada State University Regent District 12, and John Drake for Nevada State Nevada State Senate District 11. I can't even read now, Jim.
Well, it's a lot to try to keep up with.
And then we have Victoria DeLaGuerra-Seamon, who's going to be on board briefly, and she's another Veterans in Politics recipient. So you know what's going on?
Yeah, I hear you're challenging the officer involved with Stanley Gibson's death to a fight.
Why not? Sounds pretty good to me, for charity.
Well,
it's a charity for widows, widowers, and orphans of both Nevada veterans and military policemen. So it's that there is some kind of good, I'm trying to take a tragedy and kind of put a little good on there somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how come you haven't gotten any response? That's what I want to know.
Well, we're working on it. We're working on it.
I'm not blaming you for no response. I just think it's kind of interesting that he doesn't want to respond.
Because there's some people, it's easy for them to take a rifle and shoot somebody in the back of the head while they're sitting in the car,
right,
than to get in the ring and actually face an opponent.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Victoria, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
So, how's everything going with you?
Everything is good. You know, everything's looking good. Just still working hard until primary's over, which is Tuesday. So we need to just get our voters and supporters out to the polls on Tuesday, those who have not already voted in the early voting.
I voted in the early voting.
Oh, good,
yes.
good. It's easy when you vote in early voting because it only takes a second.
You're not on my ballot, though.
I know. I'm in District 9, which encompasses Flamingo down to Blue Diamond and Durango west to the mountains.
Anything you want to tell the listeners?
I'd like to tell the listeners that please go out and make sure you vote. Victoria DeLaGuerra-Seamon, Assembly District 9. I am a fiscal conservative, a business owner with over 25 years of business experience, and we need to get some fiscal conservatives back into Carson City to cut regulations and taxes and get Nevadans back to work. So I would appreciate your vote. Thank you so much.
What type of business do you own?
Well, I own spa businesses, and then my last business was a bath and body manufacturing and distribution.
One of your opponents asked me to take him off our email list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And who might that be?
Oh, it's your primary opponent.
Oh, okay.
And I hope he loses, too. Anything you want to say to Victoria?
No, other than everybody calls themselves in this election a fiscal conservative. How can you prove that you're actually a fiscal conservative?
Well, because of my stand. Well, first of all, being a former business owner with 25 years, I do understand how taxes and regulations do affect small businesses. And the stances that I take, and I did sign the tax pledge, I will not raise taxes.
Do you think that by signing the tax pledge, that limits your ability to be able to negotiate with the other side and actually get bills passed into law?
No, because we actually need to look at, we don't have a revenue problem in Carson City. We have a spending problem. So we really need to look at that before we raise any taxes. Taxes don't help the economy. We're in an economic downturn, and we know that increasing taxes does not stimulate the economy.
Well, Victoria, that's all the time we have for you.
Okay, thank you.
You are a surprise guest, so.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
We squeezed her on, huh, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to throw out my website, if that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
VictoriaForNevada.com. Thanks, Steve.
And what about a phone number, since we're so close?
Yes, you can call me at 702-466-0407. I'd love to take your calls.
This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas of Veterans in Politics, and that was Victoria DeLaGuerra-Seamon, who's running on the ticket for Nevada State Assembly. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. see the press release Veterans in Politics sent out in support of Clark County District Court Judge Alicia Kadish to the federal bench?
Yes, in 2008, Veterans in Politics endorsed 22 judicial candidates in the primary. Only 4 candidates did not become a judge. This was the same year they endorsed District Court Judge Alicia Kadish. Judge Kadish was one of the 18 of their endorsed recipients that is a sitting judge today.
Yeah, they take pride in their selection of candidates, especially when it comes to our judges. Judges are the first line of defense, and they immediately impact our daily lives.
I wonder if anybody knows that Judge Kadish was appointed to the district court seat by former Republican Governor Jim Gibbons to replace former district court judge Joe Bonaventure.
Yeah, as a jurist, Judge Kadish consistently demonstrates fairness, impartiality, and a dedication to upholding the law, regardless of whether she agrees with it. She follows the law and not legislates from the bench, which is what Republicans look for in a jurist.
Yeah, it is ironic, to say the least, that Republican U.S. Senator Dean Heller is now blocking Judge Kadish's federal judicial nomination because she insisted on following the law.
Yeah, what he is using is a questionnaire Judge Kadish filled out in May 2008 from the group Citizens of Responsible Government. They asked Judge Kadish a question concerning the Second Amendment. The question they ask is, do you believe the individual citizen has a constitutional right to keep and bear arms?
I remember that. Kadish responded, I do not believe that there is this constitutional right, but I believe that reasonable restrictions may be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Of course, I will enforce the laws as they exist as a judge.
That was a correct statement of law at the time. Individual citizens did not have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Reasonable restrictions could be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Therefore, Judge Kadish's response demonstrated that she was well-versed and knowledgeable in this important area of the law. Moreover, she indicated she would enforce the law as they exist. In other words, Judge Kadish not only understood the law, but affirmed she would apply it regardless of her personal opinion.
Yeah, later the law changed. In District of Columbia versus Heller and McDonald versus City of Chicago, the United States Supreme Court held that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess firearms, and that this right is fundamental and fully applicable to the states through incorporation in the 14th Amendment.
I remember that. After the Heller and McDonald decisions, Judge Kadish again confirmed that she would be bound by the law, not a personal opinion, and as such, if asked the same question today, she would respond, I believe that there is a constitutional right for individuals to keep and bear arms, and I would make clear that I would faithfully apply the binding precedent on the issue starting with the Heller and McDonald decisions, if faced with an issue regarding these important Second Amendment rights.
It sounds like, in both responses, Judge Kadish confirmed her commitment to upholding the law.
Yeah, now, in a sadly transparent attempt at political pandering that needlessly deepens the partisan divides that already paralyzes our federal government, U.S. Senator Heller has blocked Judge Kadish's congressional confirmation. And ironically, he is now forced to justify his position by arguing that when asked about the individual right to bear arms, Judge Kadish should have assumed activist robes and held that contrary to law. Such a right did, in fact, exist. In other words, Senator Heller must attempt to argue with a straight face that Judge Kadish is not qualified to be a federal judge because she understands the law and will uphold it.
Unfortunately, U.S. Senator Heller is not just sacrificing his own credibility among voters and true conservatives, but is selfishly denying his own constituents the benefits of a qualified, accomplished, universally respected federal judge. And that's what truly is disappointing.
Well, Veterans in Politics members believe in the Constitution and the right to bear arms. A majority of their membership has concealed carry weapons permits. I don't believe that they would endorse Judge Kadish in 2008 if they believed that she was against gun ownership.
Really? I don't understand how a freshman-appointed U.S. Senator could stop a federal appointment from a majority whip, elected U.S. Senator and the President of the United States.
Well, I know Judge Kadish should not be used as a political pawn to gain conservative votes on falsehoods. Judge Kadish's appointment should be allowed to move forward.
Please contact U.S. Senator Dean Heller's office at 702-388-6501 and ask him to let the appointment of Judge Kadish move forward to the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee.
Well, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas of Veterans in Politics. We have live Tom Blanchard, Republican candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 35 and a Veterans in Politics endorsement recipient. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Thank you for having me here.
Can you give us a bio?
Oh, gosh. Where do you want me to start? I was a Navy corpsman.
No, you start right there.
I spent some time at Camp Lejeune as an FMF corpsman in the hospital there, and then a paramedic in L.A. County, and also here in Las Vegas before I started my own real estate company, which is what I do now.
You know, I when I was in the Marine Corps, I was friends with a lot of Navy corpsmen, especially when I was in Desert Storm, because those are the guys you want to keep around, but I don't think I would trust you with a needle or anything like that. Would you, Jim, trust him with a needle? Or?
Well, I think I would trust Tom. I'm not afraid of needles.
Well, I was good at what I did.
Were you a combat medic?
Yes.
Oh, so you know how to do incisions and all that?
I knew how to do everything. I could fix. If you were broke, I'd fix you. Just like I'm going to fix our economy.
I don't know if you're qualified to fix Steve exactly, but
yeah,
it'd be worth a try.
They say I'm mental after the last press release that went out.
Well, what can I say?
I even had some cops call me. A bunch of cops call me. Actually, you know what press release I'm talking about?
Yes,
right?
yes.
A bunch of cops call me, and yeah, it was a very interesting conversation, I must say.
I'll pay the $5 to watch.
I don't think it's going to be $5. I think it'll be a lot more than that. Well, you said that you're going to fix our state. How you plan to do that as being in Nevada State Assembly?
I have no delusions that being a Republican and going into the state legislature as assemblyman, I'll probably be in the minority, but yet hopefully I'll be able to yell loud enough, speak and debate loud enough to put some sense into everybody else and have them look at how we're spending our money. We don't have a revenue issue in this state. We get more than 4 out of the 5 surrounding states. California is the only one that has a higher revenue of tax that comes in than Nevada. But yet we have the lower standards and subpar with we higher crime rates, lower school test scores, and we just need to look at how we're spending our money, where we're spending it at, and get people to perform. Just don't give out money because they have a great idea or they want to do this or do that. We have to have some kind of return on our investment, our taxpayer dollar investment.
So, Tom, can you give us the statistical breakdown of your assembly district as far as registered Republicans, Democrats, and Independents and others?
Yeah, I got about 10,000 Democrats, 8,500 Republicans, and 6,000 or 7,000 Independents.
Okay, so based on those numbers, you're going to have to convince some Democrats and Independents to vote for you. And what you had just said was we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And I believe that most of your Republican base is going to agree with you on that. However, the Democrats seem to think that we have a revenue problem. So how are you going to communicate to the Democrats to get them to be on your side to vote for you? Because you're going to need to convince some Democrats.
Well, I don't know. Just like I don't know any tax that's temporary, I don't know any Democrat that doesn't think we always need to tax more. Taxing more doesn't get us anything more other than legislators spending more when they don't have it. We've had some great times in Nevada and especially in Vegas, and we've had a problem with trying to realize that all this money is coming in from property taxes and everything else when our housing market was great, could not be sustainable. Everybody else saw it. Our legislators didn't see it, and we even passed some laws to make it impossible for us to help go through our foreclosure problem that we're having. Now, getting some Democrats to change their mind and come over to the brighter side. I think it's just going to take really some face-to-face conversations with them by knocking on doors and having barbecues in the different neighborhoods of my district and meeting with them and talking to them. It's going to be, a debate that I can handle and I'm willing to have.
Well, before we get into you being in the general election, how are you going to get out of the primary election? Because it seems like your opponent in the primary election is slandering you hard. And actually, I think I know what he's doing by looking at this mailer. He's making everybody know who his mother is, for one. That's what he's doing. I understand that. He's making everybody know who his mother is. And then he's trying to put a twist on there, want a reason why he had his mother on this mailer. I get what he's doing, but what's your take on it?
Apparently I've gotten their attention. Apparently I'm not just this unknown real estate businessman with a family, with a kid in the local school, trying to get into the assembly that has no chance. Our polls show that we're doing very well, and we should win the primary. The fact of the mailer coming out from my opponent and talking about how I viciously attacked with an irate rants on his mother.
Is it true?
Well, if you read the RJ article, I basically just told the truth about how some endorsements were blocked by his mother. I mean,
well, you know what? I don't even think that his mom should even worry about your race, because she's in a race all by her own, and I think her opponent slammed her in this primary, so she shouldn't be worried about you.
Well, and here, I put it out in a mailer, so I can say it, on the air. She is term limited out. This is her last hurrah. If she doesn't make her race in CD4, she's essentially this next legislative session, she's done.
And you know what? When I look at this mailer, another thing that comes to my mind, because I try to be a little bit more politically inclined. I don't see him talking anything about what he's going to do to fix the economy. I see him going after you for allegedly slamming his mother, who has nothing to do with this race, and she's not the one running for this assembly district. And another thing with this is that. Jim, I just lost my train of thought.
well, I'll just add to the thing that's interesting that in this mailer is they call you a mudslinger.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting because of the fact that while everybody always complains, right, that we're tired of the negative campaigning and we're tired of the politics as usual, but mudslinging actually works. And people actually respond to it. But just to so that we're clear that I'm not calling you a mudslinger, I think there's a difference between mudslinging and just pointing out your opponent's record. And I just believe you pointed out your opponent's record, and that's not mudslinging, in my opinion.
No, I just pointed out the fact that his mom has provided him with some benefits because of her position as a state senator, and blocked me out.
That's fair,
and that's politics.
Yeah.
Well, basically, he's running off of his mother's accomplishments, so to speak. He's not running on his own. And a lot of these kids compare themselves to a parent if the parent is doing so well. And sometimes it's not that case. Take a look at North Las Vegas race with Councilman William Robinson, and his son wanted to replace him in the city council, and his son is totally, completely different than his father, the politician.
Right.
So when people try to compare themselves to their parent that actually held office, I would tell you folks, everybody's individual, and don't do that.
No, Barbara Sagaski, to her credit, has done a tremendous job being a legislator. She's been there for, I think, 12 years now, because she's term limited out, and that's her max. This is the last session. And, she's being a good mom.
Right.
She's trying to, provide for her son, and trying to get him into a nice legislative job where she's no longer going to be. And right. I understand that. I hold no
have the legacy continue.
Yeah, right? I hold no ill will. I just wanted everybody else to understand what was going on, and if that's being vicious and
Well, I'm not really into legacy continuing. I'm actually into the right person that's going to fix her problems, and not talk about they're going to fix it. Actually, roll up their doggone sleeve and actually fix her problems, because we have a lot of problems out there, and everybody's talking about it or going off the fact of a legacy being continued, and I'm not all into that. I'm into the problem being fixed by whoever. It could be the devil running for assembly. If the devil know how to fix the doggone problem, that's who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah, and you know what? There really needs to have a more proactive legislative body. Anybody can be reactive. And we've been reactive over the last, 10, 20 years, forever. And by looking forward instead of looking at where we've been,
right.
I think we can get over this quagmire, for a better word, that we're in. And we need to look forward. We need to realize that there are some really dark days coming. If you think it's bad now, I can assure you from the statistics that I see in the housing market and our economy, we have some more dark days coming. And if we don't look forward to it and look how to help or make sure we have things in place that will be there to counteract these forces that are coming, we're going to be in deep doo-doo.
Especially Nostradamus' prediction.
Yes.
Yeah, that's coming pretty quick too.
So, Tom, so what I'm hearing from you is that I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay, John Ralston.
Well, okay. Now here comes a tough question. See, I was going to go kind of soft on you, Tom, but now you call me John Ralston. That's fighting words.
John Ralston, Mr. Face to Face, if you're listening, because I'm sure you are. I know you say you're not. He's an opportunist, for one. He's a coward, for two, and he likes to sleep with women, for three. Lots of them, and I know a whole bunch of them. I could run off names, John, if you want me to. But anyways, go ahead and answer your question.
So Tom, my question is that based on your last statement, what would you say to if you get to the general? Adam would probably say, "Here he goes again. Republicans always do this. You're scaring people into voting for you, saying darker days are ahead. If you don't elect me, the world's going to fall apart." What would you say to that question or statement?
Here's a real simple one, and everybody can understand this. Right now, we have approximately 30,000 people in homes that are not paying a mortgage. They're not saving it; they're spending it in our economy. Now, as soon as those 30,000 or so folks start having to either pay rent or have their loan modified and they have to pay some kind of modified mortgage payment, that money that I estimate to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 to $50 million a month that's being pushed into our economy and spent right now is going to go away.
Are you one of those 30,000?
No, thank goodness.
Just checking. Tom, could you give us your web address and contact information?
Yes, it's the web address is www.Blanchard, Blanchard 4, that's the number 4, Nevada.com.
Phone number, since it's so late.
702-277-5414. That's my personal cell.
Well, Tom, thanks for coming on the show. That's Tom Blanchard, Republican candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 35. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas. Don't go away, folks. We're going to keep trucking. We're going to have Mickey Frazier coming up.
Hello,
My name is Steve Sanson. I'm the president of Veterans in Politics International. This country and state are in trouble with budget cuts, unemployment, foreclosures, teacher shortage, dropout rates, terrorism, and a loss of military service members. The outcome of this election will profoundly affect families, both military and non-military. Military men and women are dying for other countries to have the right to vote. As a former member of the United States Marine Corps and the Army, I know how important it is to keep the voters informed. Log on to the website veteransinpolitics.com. All Americans of voting age need to not only vote, but research your choices. The Veterans in Politics organization has taken a proactive approach to supporting candidates who will have the courage to protect all of our freedoms and our Constitution. Visit our website at veteransinpolitics.com. Don't just talk about who you support. Research your choices and vote.
My name is Sean Havlin, United States Army 1st Ranger Battalion. I've been wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner for Congress. Ken is an Army veteran who was wounded in the First Gulf War, and his son is fighting in Afghanistan. When you go to WegnerForCongress.com, you will see that he is the only candidate running for Congress who refuses all money from lobbyists, PACs, and special interest groups. Like Ken, I believe our government needs to take the leash off our soldiers or bring them home and place them on our borders to help win the war on drugs. In Iraq, we used foreign-made equipment. Now, who do you think will make a better product to help protect our soldiers? Foreign factories or American factories? Kenneth Wegner's right. All government contracts should be made in the USA, creating jobs for our economy. To prove that Rangers lead the way, I am donating $500 to Kenneth Wegner. You too can make a difference. Donate what you can. Tell your friends. Get involved.
I'm Colonel Ed Bridges, United States Air Force retired. I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner.
I'm Sergeant Matt Penny, a former recon Marine.
This is Dick Marcinko, Commander of the United States Navy, founder of SEAL Team 6 in Red Cell. I'm an American. I'm for Ken Wegner.
My name's Kenneth Wegner, and I authorize this message.
This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas of Veterans in Politics. We're just moving them right down like an assembly line, Jim Jonas.
Yes, we are.
We got Mickey Fraser, Democrat candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 12. Mickey, how you doing today?
Great, Steve. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you and Jim today. I appreciate your invite.
Mickey, what's going on with your voice, baby?
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
You hear me loud and clear?
You got a frog or something going?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Oh, hey.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
All right, Mickey. Could you give us a bio?
Well, I'm a.
That's enough, Mickey. Anyway, so what are you going to do? Go ahead.
No. Hey, I'm a son of a first sergeant. I had the pleasure and the honor of traveling around the world.
So you're a military brat.
Military brat.
Why don't you just say I'm a military brat?
I'm a military brat. I'm a vet myself.
What branch?
U.S. Navy.
And your dad was in the Marine Corps?
My dad was in the Air Force.
We said first sergeant.
First sergeant in the United States Air Force.
They got first sergeant Air Force?
Yeah, Air Force. Yeah.
Man, it's been a while.
He's the top gun on the base.
Is he there now?
No, he's not there now. He's retired.
Oh, he was the top gun.
He was the top gun. Okay, he's retired. Uh-huh. And I've lived in Las Vegas here for the last 3 years. Okay. I'm passionate about my community. I'm a community leader. I'm the president of a nonprofit organization where I oversee about a $500,000 budget.
Well, what organization is that?
It's Mountainside City Lights.
You ever heard of that, Jim?
It's a
no, I haven't.
It's Mountainside City Lights. It's
who's doing your PR? Because we never heard of it.
Okay, so, well, that's why I'm here. So you guys can know it's heard a lot about our election, this record lows, this voting season here for the primary.
So basically, Mickey, why you run against the incumbent? Doesn't he seem like a nice guy to you?
Well, he is a good guy. He's a nice guy. But, see, elections are about the future, and he's part of our past, basically. Okay. We're looking at the past 20 years or so of him and his family controlling that area.
It's time for him to go.
It's time. It's time. You get complacent, and
he's comfortable.
Right. And the community suffers.
Right.
So we're not just a number. We're a community.
Gotcha.
We're not just
how's his voting record?
His voting record when he's there.
Oh, so he's not there a lot.
Some of the issues we agree on, we don't agree on. As you know, Veterans in Politics, he was one of the committee members on the Veterans Court bill that was a good thing, and I know everybody was supporting that. I was supporting it definitely, but there were some things left out. such as the violent offenders, such as individuals that
weren't in combat.
Weren't in combat. That was left out.
The funding part.
The options. Anytime you don't have any money and you give a city or state or anyone the options of optioning out. They option out.
Well, boy, that's the first time I heard anybody ever get that right.
Yeah.
Well, it's true.
I had to educate everybody.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Hey, now you're telling me what I already know. That's the first time.
Well, I'm a vet, so I'm on top of it, and he's not a vet. He does what he can do, and I do what I can do. And I serve the community, and he serves.
Okay, so how you plan to serve the community? The community in the capacity of a Nevada State Assemblyman.
Well, this election itself is about jobs. Make no mistake about it. So what we've done already, and we have a plan in place, is that we've contacted dozens of companies that have already expressed the a possibility of expanding in our area, in our community, and in Nevada in general. And we've already had great responses. I have a letter I can read for you right now from Nevada Labs, which is a energy company that has done a pre-feasibility study, and they're looking at the possibility. I'm going to get a hold of them, and this type of work will be continued whether I win the election or not. Okay. So I'm a community guy. I work throughout the community.
You know what? You seem very sharp. Jim, how does he seem to you?
No, he does seem sharp. But one of the questions that I want to ask,
Jim is critical, though.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm playing devil's advocate.
There you go.
That's my job. So we hear a lot about community organizers. Now, is that going to play with our president is a community organizer, and while he got given a really bad economy, a lot of people are kind of down on him about not fixing our mess quite as fast enough. So just from a pure political standpoint, I'm going to say, is calling yourself a community organizer necessarily the best strategy for your race in order to win?
Well, the first time I called myself a community organizer was when you said it just now. So I haven't used it on the campaign trail. I'm not a community organizer. I'm a president of an association. I'm a retired, did 25 years for the government. Okay. So I'm a retiree.
In what capacity?
I did military time.
Right.
And I combined my military time with my U.S. postal time.
Oh, so
I combined the two.
What was your capacity with the post office?
The post office, I was a processing clerk.
Okay.
At first, I was a mailman. I did about 6 years on the road, on the street. Got my street cred.
So you're the one that went to my neighbor's house, huh?
That wasn't me. Yeah, so I did that and moved inside. And
okay, so what bills do you But besides revamping Veterans Court, which is very noble, and I think that should have been done in the last legislation. Matter of fact, Assemblyman Horn was trying to piggyback on another bill with a phone call I made to do that, and it didn't happen. But what are the bills that you want to see accomplished?
One of the bills that we need to get done, and is a no-brainer, and they've been trying to get it done for years, is a lottery here. Yeah, I understand. Article 4, Section 24 of the Nevada State Constitution says we can't have any. We're going to have to tinker with that. But when you look at blue ribbon schools, of which there are none in my district, and I'll be responsible for making sure the East Career and Technical Academy there in my district gets taken care of, and they're going to be one of them. But when you look at schools of excellence, and you look at a state like Nevada, or we're compared to states like Mississippi and Alabama. Alabama has more schools of excellence than we have. So they also have one thing in common. They don't have a lottery. So those tens of millions of dollars that could be going to the schools, sure, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get the Gaming Commission, and we're going to have to get the State Gaming Control Board involved. If we can get them involved and get the stations involved, in selling the tickets and having people going through their casino, that's the only way we're going to get this done. But we can get it done. There is some common ground there on both sides. Okay. Right. So we can get it done.
So to fix the budget problems and the educational issues in the state of Nevada, we just need a state lottery.
No, we don't. That's just a portion of it. There's going to be some cuts. There's going to be some taxes. Anybody that tells you any different, they're not. They're lying to you. I ain't going to lie to you. There are going to be.
Did you sign the tax pledge?
I haven't signed a tax pledge, but there are going to. You look at things like cigars, and you look at certain tobacco taxes that are lower than cigarettes. Up in those taxes, we're going to be. There's some touchy areas there. Big businesses don't like.
I think they were talking about raising somewhere. I don't know if it was in this state or another state, but I know I read something. They were talking about raising the cigarette tax to $1 or something like that.
That was a proposition. It may have passed. I think it was something done in another state.
I'm not positive.
Probably California.
But Mickey, sorry we run out of time, and we have to move on. But could you give the listeners your contact information, including your phone number, since we're so far into the game here?
The best way to reach me is on my personal cell, which is 310-686-2832.
Oh, you can't get a local number?
It's an old number. I have a local number.
Oh, okay.
It's 702. You can get me on my local number, 702-818-0431.
Well, Mickey, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Mickey Fraser, Democrat candidate for Nevada State Assembly District 12. This is Steve Sanson, Jim of Veterans in Politics. Don't go away, folks. We're going to have Kiran Hill, Republican candidate for Nevada's newest Congressional District 4. And we're also going to have him joined by Dr. Lonnie Hammargren for Nevada State University District 12 and John Drake for Nevada State Senate District 11.
Hello, my fellow Nevadans. Are you tired of listening to the same old rhetoric from politicians? I know I am. And that's why I'm running for Congress in Nevada's 4th District as a conservative. I'm Sidney Zeller, a retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel and veteran of 3 wars. I'm a proven leader and a man of honor, integrity, and character. My focus is on bringing economic prosperity to the 4th District. For more information on my positions, please visit my Facebook and website, SidZellerForCongress.com, paid for by Sid Zeller for Congress.
Hey, listen up. If you're a military veteran, if you're related to a veteran, or if you know a veteran, you'll enjoy the Veterans Reporter radio show every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. with me. I'm your host, Chuck N. Baker. Every week, we will explore veterans issues and we'll have guests who will talk about topics of interest to and about the veterans community. And if you don't listen, you'll have to give me 20 push-ups.
Hello, my name is Steve Sanson. I'm the president of Veterans in Politics International. This country and state are in trouble with budget cuts, unemployment, foreclosures, teacher shortage, dropout rates, terrorism, and a loss of military service members. The outcome of this election will profoundly affect families, both military and non-military. Military men and women are dying for other countries to have the right to vote. As a former member of the United States Marine Corps and the Army, I know how important it is to keep the voters informed. Log on to the website veteransinpolitics.com. All Americans of voting age need to not only vote, but research your choices. The Veterans in Politics organization has taken a proactive approach to supporting candidates who will have the courage to protect all of our freedoms and our Constitution. Visit our website at veteransinpolitics.com. Don't just talk about who you support. Research your choices and vote.
My name is Sean Havlin, United States Army 1st Ranger Battalion. I've been wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner for Congress. Ken is an Army veteran who was wounded in the first Gulf War, and his son is fighting in Afghanistan. When you go to WegnerForCongress.com, you will see that he is the only candidate running for Congress who refuses all money from lobbyists, PACs, and special interest groups. Like Ken, I believe our government needs to take the leash off our soldiers or bring them home and place them on our borders to help win the war on drugs. In Iraq, we used foreign-made equipment. Now, who do you think will make a better product to help protect our soldiers? Foreign factories or American factories? Kenneth Wegner's right. All government contracts should be made in the USA, creating jobs for our economy. To prove that Rangers lead the way, I am donating $500 to Kenneth Wegner. You too can make a difference. Donate what you can. Tell your friends. Get involved.
I'm Colonel Ed Bridges, United States Air Force retired. I'm supporting Kenneth Wegner.
I'm Sergeant Matt Penny, a former recon Marine.
This is Dick Marcinko, Commander of the United States Navy, founder of SEAL Team 6 in Red Cell. I'm an American. I'm for Ken Wegner.
My name's Kenneth Wegner, and I authorize this message.
Wow, this is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones from Veterans in Politics. We're going to have Kiran Hill, Republican candidate for Nevada State's newest Congressional District 4. And then we're going to be joined by Dr. Lonnie Hammargren from Nevada State University Regent District 12 and John Drake from Nevada State Senate District 11, who are both going to receive the Veterans in Politics endorsement today. Kiran, how you doing?
Pretty good. It's Kiran, but...
Kiran.
Like the beer.
You ever had a beer named Kiran?
No, I haven't.
I have never had a beer named Kiran.
You've never been to Japan?
I've been to Japan. I had Orient Draft.
Oh, Kiran's big over there.
Dr. Lonnie Hammargren, you had Orient Draft, right?
I've never had Kiran beer. It sounds like something you'd put in somebody's vein.
John, what do you have? You ever heard of Kiran?
I've heard of Kiran beer, but I've never heard of what you guys are describing here.
So, since you guys are just getting the endorsement, and actually Mr. Beer here, Mr. Hill, is actually the interviewer, tell us about yourself.
Well, I spent 11 years in the Marines. I've been overseas on working for the State Department and the DOD. Spent a long time in the Middle East, most of the last 10 years. And I'm a Tea Party Republican. And I'm getting into the race because I feel like Republicans, that I've been a Republican since I could vote, but I see them raising taxes, I see them supporting TARP and the bailouts, and I don't see them standing up to the Second Amendment like they should. And so I feel like I need to get involved in politics. We got to fight for our freedom at home. We got to take our country back.
Well, how do you plan to do that, Mr. Hill?
Well...
Or should I say devil dog?
Yes, indeed. Lots of ways. One, in my platform is a proposal that would make your CCW valid nationally. So the right of Nevadans, when they travel throughout the rest of the country, they won't be arrested for their constitutional right, which is to carry a weapon, carry concealed.
How's that going to improve the economy, though? Because that's the number one issue.
Right. He asked me how I can do one thing. You want to know how to improve the economy is get rid of regulations, lower taxes. This country became the most prosperous in the world without the government getting involved.
And you know
we
what?
Can do that again.
You know what? We hear candidates and elected talk about that, about getting rid of regulation and lowering taxes. Let me ask you, how are you going to do that?
I'm going to vote against them. I'm going to propose bills to get rid of regulations, to get rid of taxes, to lower taxes. There's Republicans getting voted across the country right now, Tea Party Republicans, that are on the same bandwagon, because Americans realize they've been asleep for too long, that the bad guys have taken over, and it's time to take our country back.
Okay, so you had mentioned TARP.
Yes.
The counter, and I'll tell you, personally, I agree with your position, but as an interviewer, I have to play devil's advocate.
By all means.
So what do you say to people that say, you had... The stories are that you actually had people on their hands and knees begging George W. Bush, if you don't inject this government money now, the entire government is going to collapse. So he did it out of necessity.
Right.
That's the story.
Yes, that's the story, and I don't buy it for a minute. We have to give these billions of dollars from the middle class to save the economy. Every con job starts with, if you don't do this, disaster will follow. If you don't give these billionaires billions of dollars, then the unemployment will rise above 8%. Well, guess what? It did. It rose above 8%. So what they were predicting that the injection of money would do, it did not do. And where they put the money has been a colossal waste. Solyndra. There's a whole list of failures of where they've spent that money, to include the banks where they put the money, and they said, well, if we give the money to these banks, then they're going to start making loans again. Well, they didn't, because it would have been stupid on their part to do that. So you can't centrally manage an economy. And I would have thought that had been proved in the last 100 years, but people still think that, we get some really smart guys, they can do it better than the free market. No, you can't.
You know something, what was your rank in the Marine Corps?
I got up to sergeant as enlisted, and I got promoted just to first lieutenant before I got out.
All right, LT.
That's where we're going.
do you think, take a look at all these veterans are coming back.
Yes.
With post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is not something new. It's been going on way back in World War I, World War II, even in the battle for our independence with the Brits. Okay, but now we have a social media sites. We have lots of social media sites, and a lot of people are hearing about all these PTSDs that are coming back with our veterans. They're hearing about all these police shootings, and all these bad cops that are killing our veterans in the streets, especially the unarmed veterans. Do you think there should be a federal mandate to all the police departments, all the police academies, to make sure that every single cop, every single sheriff, every single deputy, every single marshal, every single FBI agent go through some kind of crisis intervention so they can have some type of way to talk a assailant out of what he's doing or what he's not doing instead of just shooting them?
You brought up two very, very important points. One of them is that we're not taking care of veterans when they return, when they put their lives on the line, and we're not taking care of their visible and their non-visible wounds, and we need to do a better job of that. And then the other thing you bring up is what I think is a big concern, and that's the militarization of police. And police pulling the trigger on people when they shouldn't be pulling the trigger on people in all situations. But to answer your question, yes, there should be some they have to take responsibility for every time they pull the trigger. They're citizens, just like I have to take responsibility every time if I pull the trigger in my own defense. I have to take responsibility for that. So do police officers. And if they know that they're going to be in that situation a lot more than I am as a non-police officer citizen, then yes, they should look into ways where they don't have to pull the trigger on an unarmed person, where they don't have to pull the trigger on an innocent person, where they don't have to pull a trigger in any situation where it's not going to save lives of the public.
So what do you propose? What would you do?
I would not propose that as a federal rule. I would get strongly behind that being done at the state level at every state, but I don't think the federal government should get involved in that.
Jim?
Yeah, well, the next question I have for you is, so what do you think about this new CD4 race, in the fact that it just seems like all the people that are running for the Republican primary seem to have some kind of issues as far as, their financial states, whether it be, we hear about the Danny Tarkanian stuff with all the realtor issues, and then on the other side we got Stephen Horsford, which supposedly he defaulted on a lot of things too in his younger years. What do you think how do you think about that? Somebody that says that they're going to fix the financial crisis in Washington, but they got their own financial crisis.
My simple answer is don't vote for Danny Tarkanian or Stephen Horsford. That's
well, you know what, and let me piggyback on what Jim just said. What do you think about John Ralston's little because Keith Rogers wrote an article about all the veterans in the CD4 race, and
yes, he did.
John Ralston decided that he was going to piggyback on that and write some depressing thing about me and Kent Wagner, and then had the audacity to say that none of the veterans in the CD4 race have a chance of winning. What do you think about that?
I wrote to you about that earlier today, but I think that's disgusting of him to say. One, he doesn't know who's going to win. This race is really up in the air. It could go any ways. And for him to say that it's not going to be a veteran, he doesn't know who's going to win this race, and I think it's a pretty disgusting thing.
You know what? Maybe you probably want to challenge him to an MMA fight. I put him in the ring.
I will challenge. Yes, and if he wants to climb in the ring with me, yes, there you go. Be more than happy to.
I think that's what needs to happen, because I think more that needs to happen.
I bet you everything I've got, he will not climb into the ring with me.
I think
will not do that.
You know what? Karen, did I say that right?
Kiran.
I think more of that needs to happen. People that just talk a lot of crapola, I think they need to put their money where their mouth is. Either use their physical being or out of their pocketbook. I think so.
It would certainly make for a more entertaining political process.
Exactly. Yes. Like this one guy, Fred Conquest, bet me that he's talking all this crap about me. So I said, put your money where your mouth is, and I'll bet you $1,000. I said that you're not even going to win. You're not even going to become an elected. And he said, I'll take your bet. I'll take it. And I got all these Facebook posts, right? I'll take your bet. And I said, okay, fine. You take my bet. That's good. I copied all these Facebook posts, and rest assured that if you don't pay me when you lose, because I know he will, I'm going to sue you if you don't pay my $1,000. That's exactly what I'll do. Because I'm tired of people just talking crap and don't actually back it up. You know what I mean?
Can I add one thing on what Stephen Horsford and Danny Tarkanian? Yeah. I said don't vote for them, and I was kind of joking, but actually I'm serious. If you vote for one of those individuals that is going into already that much in debt, you can't hope that they're going to serve their constituents. They're going to serve whoever can help them pay back those debts.
Well, LT, thank you for coming on the show. Could you give us your website and a quick phone number?
Yes. My website is www.kiranhill.com. That's KIRANHILL.com. And the number is 702-359-0070.
Thank you. Lonnie Hammargren, how you doing, doctor?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Give us your bio, because we're going to give you the endorsement right now. Give us your bio.
Okay. I've 100 combat missions in Vietnam as a doctor.
How you know you had 100 combat missions?
Because I got paid him for it. And actually, interestingly, Channel 3 challenged me this and said they were going to do an expose on me 20 years ago unless I could prove to them within 3 hours. So I went and
Isn't that the same company John Ralston works for?
It isn't John that's the problem there with me, okay? But anyway, they gave me 3 hours. I went and found all my flight records, including the fact that I flew with the astronauts, such as Buzz Aldrin, showed them my flight records. But that's an interesting challenge when they say, prove this in 3 hours. I did it by records.
Could you give us your contact information?
Well, yeah, Hammerman, HAMMARMAN @Cox.net.
Well, thank you, Lonnie Hammargren. That's Dr. Lonnie Hammargren from Nevada State University, District 12. John Drake, how about you?
Well, I grew up here, came to Las Vegas in 71, went through the school district here, went to the university system here, worked here in Southern Nevada. Presently, I'm working at a credit union called Sierra Nevada Federal Credit Union that's located in Chinatown. I'm in State Senate District 11. My Democratic opponents, who I won't know until the primary's over, will be either Aaron Ford or Harry Mortensen. I got in this race because some of the issues that you guys were discussing earlier, my main focus, if I do get elected, is mainly go after the Nevada State PERS department or the fund. Right now it's 41 billion, underfunded right now. And if we can somehow reform that or eliminate that, I don't see any reasons why that we need to raise taxes. And I think would be enough revenue to be spread out among the state. And I have a plan to do that. Right now, NV Energy was one of the leaders of getting rid of their defined pension program about 2 years ago, whereas they paid everybody out on a present value system, their pension up to that point in time. That would be the same thing I would do if I was elected. I propose that to pay the state employees so they don't lose their pension. But the state should not be in the pension business. It'd be like private industry. I think private industry you see today that it doesn't have a pension program for their employees. So that would be one of my mainstay of if I get elected as a state senator.
Well, thanks, John. That was John Drake, Nevada State Senate District 11. And folks, I just want to remind everybody that we haven't put out any formal press releases yet, but we'll be conducting our Veterans in Politics endorsement interviews for Clark County District Court Judge Apartments 4 and 14 on Saturday, July 14th at the Marine Corps Leather Neck Club between 4 and 6. And also, we're going to be doing a 6-month anniversary for the death of Gulf War veteran Stanley Gibson at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery on Tuesday, June 12th at 11 a.m. And the Boulder City Mayor and Boulder City Council will be there on hand as well. Jim?
No, other than that, I just want to thank everybody for coming in. It was It was fun to ask you guys questions, and thank you guys very much for coming in.
Yeah, the last part of the segment, we want to thank Kiran Hill, Republican candidate for Nevada's newest Congressional District 4, Dr. Lonnie Hammargren for Nevada State University District 12, and John Drake for Nevada State Senate District 11. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas. Until next week.
No doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Views and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests and did not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.